Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to review this 1975 album from Elton, Rock of the Westies. Released 24th October 1975, and it debuted straight in at number one in the US, and along with the predecessor Captain Fantastic. At the time, that was the only time that had happened, and Elton did it twice running. Different musicians on this album, as we'll come to, so I'm not quite sure how they got released, but Nigel Olsson and Dee Murray, the rhythm section from the previous few albums, was no longer in the band, and a whole lot of new faces appeared on this album and would continue into the following one, Blue Moves. So we've got, this is the band on the back, the band picture, and Bernie Taupin is in the middle here. I'm not sure if I can identify exactly who is who. I know David Johnson's at the back there, Kenny Passarelli on bass here, Ray Cooper, percussion. You got Caleb Quay on electric guitar, who was featured on some of Elton's early albums like Tumbleweed Connection. Roger Pope on drums, who'd also featured on Empty Sky and Tumbleweed. And then a relatively unknown keyboardist here, James Newton Howard. So good band. Not that there was anything wrong with the previous band. In fact, I thought the sound on Captain Fantastic was sublime, particularly on the title track and on Someone Saved My Life Tonight. Nigel's drumming brilliant on that latter track. But this new band is not radically different. Elton's sound is similar, although one can say that this album rocks pretty hard, and it's reminiscent of the Stones in some ways. So what goodies do you get inside the album? You get, it's the producer Gus Dudgeon there. You get the lyrics, handwritten lyrics here. Not sure whose handwriting that is. You've got pictures, small pictures of the band there. So that's good. And then you've got quite an interesting label with Elton on the A side and on the B side. So that's quite nice. This is a second-hand copy I picked up in the 80s. It is available on new vinyl, I saw, but I didn't think it was worth picking up on new vinyl. I think this copy is in pretty good nick. In fact, I know it is. So yeah, reminiscent of the Stones and probably Elton's hardest rocking album, song for song. But it didn't go down particularly well with some of the critics. Rolling Stone said the album, or Elton tries to parody the Stones' preoccupation with sex and violence so nonchalantly that the themes are devoid of sensuality, menace, or psychological nuance. And then he goes on to compare Elton's vocal style to Jagger, who he thinks he's trying to mimic or imitate on this album, and says it lacks Jagger's subtlety and Elton's just shouting the whole time. That's a little unfair, because I think Elton's rock voice is pretty decent on this album, and as it had been on previous rockers like The Bitch Is Back and All the Young Girls Love Alice and Saturday Night, it's all right. He sings pretty well. I don't think that's a complaint. The only slight complaint for me is, as we've seen with several albums, side one is considerably stronger than side two, and on this album it's almost comical. It's as if he's put all the best tracks on side one and a bunch of leftovers on side two, with a couple of exceptions we'll come to. So the album starts off very strongly with the medley, Yell Help, Wednesday Night and Ugly, with the new band finding their feet and doing a good backing track, and Elton sings it well, and it's raunchy, and it's a bloody good opener. I really like it. Not quite as successful as the title track from Captain Fantastic or The Bitch Is Back as openers go, or Goodbye Yellow Brick Road for that matter, or Honky Cat. So in comparison to some of his great openers from the past, this one's not quite up there, but it's pretty decent. Then we got Dander, And Elton wanted this track to be the single, but the record company turned him down and chose Island Girl instead. So Dander is a comic character from the 50s. And it's interesting that not only Elton mentioned him in song, but Syd Barrett mentions him in the 67 song Astronomie Domine, and David Bowie mentions him in the 1979 song DJ. So that's quite interesting. Then we've got the single Island Girl, which was a huge #1 hit in the US and #5 hit in the UK. And I think it's just one of Elton's best songs of his whole career. Again, the Rolling Stone review said people who listen to Island Girl may find it racist and sexist without the redeeming eroticism of Brown Sugar. Well, okay, but at the time this kind of song was, well, even now I don't think it's offensive in my opinion. I think it's pretty harmless. There's been some far worse lyrics written by, you know, various rap artists than this. This is pretty harmless, and it's a great tune. I absolutely love it. Not sure if he made a video for this, but I think he did it in concert around the time quite a lot. Not so much since. Maybe it's a tricky one to do. Not sure. The backing vocals and stuff. Then we got Grow Some Funk of Your Own, which was also a single. Got to number 14 in the US, didn't chart in the UK. And Island Girl got to number 14 in the UK and #1 in the US, as I said. So Grow Some Funk of Your Own is a great, and this is definitely a kind of riff-led song, similar to Stone's songs of the era and of the early mid 70s. And Davy Johnson is actually credited as co-writing this song, quite rightly, because I think the riff is the main backbone of the song. And this song, along with Island Girl, found their way onto Greatest Hits Volume 2 deservedly. Then the big ballad of the album, I Feel Like a Bullet in the Gun of Robert Ford. It's just gorgeous. And it's just one in a string of glorious ballads from Elton in the early to mid 70s, you know, from Mona Lisa and Mad Hatters to Candle in the Wind to Ticking from Caribou to this one from this album, Someone Saved My Life Tonight from Captain Fantastic, Chameleon from Blue Moves. Just a string of brilliant ballads, epic ballads, and you know, a bit strange lyrically. Not sure what Bernie was referring to, but really works. Great track. And then we turn over to side 2, and it opens extremely strongly with Street Kids, which I was just reading on Wikipedia, features in Grand Theft Auto Volume 4, I think. It's a great track, and the band is on terrific form, and it's the best track on side 2 by quite a distance. That then follows a Hard Luck Story written by a cover song, which I think was written for Kiki D, and then ended up being recorded by Elton, and it's taken at a faster pace. It's nothing very special. Feed Me is a decent track with interesting lyrics from Bernie. And then the album finishes with Billy Bones and the White Bird, which is a kind of, by numbers, rock number with repetitive lyrics about check it out, check it out. It's okay, but it's a bit of a weak closer, if we're honest. So this album is a tale of two halves, really. Side 1 is just 9 out of 10, and side 2 is like 6 out of 10. So overall it's a worthy album, and Elton was to do a lot worse than this in his career. This is still from his golden period, so thank you for watching. See you next time.